Do, 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 do. Baby girl. Mm. I can't lie. He got one with that shit, bro. He really got one with that, John. I love Saturdays, man. Saturdays,
Oh, huge day, huge day.
yeah, it's gonna be a great day.
One of the last ones before conference tourneys too. Not many left.
Yeah, Selection Sunday, and it's not too far away. Would you
No,
say?
less than a month. Less than a
Yeah,
month.
it's pretty sweet.
No, it should be fun. It's one of the last big Saturdays.
You're not lying.
Although we do have more games on Sundays now that NFL's over.
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. Okay, we are back. It is Saturday, February 22nd, nearing the end of Black History Month. Only a little under a week left, but it's been a pretty productive month. Kendrick won a bunch of Grammys. All right. He performed the Super Bowl. All right, and then Drake dropped the album that went number one. All right, we're back. We're here for college basketball picks. Spin, how you feeling today, man? How are we feeling? What's the deal?
Feeling great. Coming off of a free play sweep last night, a VIP sweep last night, and everything sweep last night, including Sparty money line. Man, don't bet against Izzo at this time of the year. You just don't do it. I don't
Tell him.
care. And
Tell him.
especially look to take Izzo when he's a dog like that against a conference rival. He's a dog against a bitter conference rival, and you're going to give me almost plus 140. Oh, hell no. That one was easy to take. So, yeah, looking to repeat from yesterday and keep swelling the bank accounts. I know we were saying before we went on, we're getting down to it. Teams that need a win are getting down to very, very limited time to do it now. We're getting right down to it. So
Let's actually get into that first. Let's get into that first,
yeah.
right?
Let's talk
Like
about bracketology.
it's
So
the weekend. It's Saturday. Everybody's tuned in on Saturdays for the games. First of all, it's the game. A lot of these games come on nightly. You might have your day to day. Saturday, obviously, you get the full slate. There are some teams that simply just cannot afford to lose. They cannot afford to lose today. And we're here to tell you who's in, who's out, who has to get one. And that's why spin is the best in the business. So let's start with who you believe cannot lose, etc.
well, as far as who can't afford many more losses, first team I'm going to go with is Oklahoma. Right now, they're the first team out, according to Lenardi. They're hovering right between one of the last four in, first four out. And their schedule coming up is not pretty at all. You got Mississippi State today. You got Kentucky. Then you got Mississippi. Then you got Missouri, and then you got at Texas before the SEC tournament. So the Sooners right now 16-10. Their net is right on the bubble. They need a win in the worst possible way. What they can't do is have any bad losses. With this gauntlet that they have coming up now, because their problem is that they dropped to LSU. That's a bad loss. They dropped to Georgia. That's a loss. And then they've had basically every ranked team in the SEC that they've played outside of Vandy once, they've fallen to. So they don't really have any signature wins. So they got 4 chances to get one here. I think that they have to go. I mean, 2-2 would probably still, provided they don't have a disaster in the SEC tournament, 2-2 would probably do it. 3-1 for sure would, but if they go 1-3, if they go 0-4 here, and then really regardless of what happens against Texas, now you're talking about needing to win 2 or 3 games in the SEC tournament to even have a shot. So Oklahoma has a big challenge ahead of them, and right now they are 3-point dogs. On the road, it opened at 1.5, at home against Mississippi State. Mississippi State coming off the huge win against Texas A&M earlier in the week. So I'm not so sure about that one. I'm not so sure. It's not an official play for the show, but I'm not so sure I wouldn't be looking to take Mississippi State here because Oklahoma just has not proven that they can beat anybody of substance throughout the entire SEC season, and they've had about a bazillion chances to do it. So, first bet OU +4. Hey, I get it. I get it about the team in a desperate situation because they are getting dire because they have such a tough schedule coming up here. My next one for who needs a win today would be Boise State. Boise State, and you'll be hearing about them a little bit later today. They were pretty much on the verge of just being out of at-large consideration altogether. But they really helped their cause by they beat New Mexico by 8. I watched that game wire to wire. We cashed it in VIP too. That game wasn't even that close. They were up by 20 or 18-20 most of the second half. But a good solid quad one win. Nevada is technically a quad one team, but they're all basically 500 team. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. This is a game that you cannot have a letdown against because they got Utah State coming up, which is another chance for a quad one win. Then you have Fresno, who's at the bottom of the conference. You have Air Force, who both of those should be wins. Colorado State at home should be a win. So you got you got a chance here for no letdown. And then you have Utah State where you can really boost your tournament resume. If they win both of those, if they win out the regular season and get at least one win in the Mountain West tournament, they're probably back in the last four in. So, but losing at Nevada, who's a 500 team this year, who's had a couple bad losses right after you get yourself back into into contention, it just literally cannot happen today. It cannot happen today. So, and then my last one that I'll talk about now for who needs a win would be VCU. So VCU is one of the last four teams in right now. They're actually almost the last at-large team in. The A-10 isn't going to get a whole lot of bids. They do have a tougher than you would think game against Mason today. George Mason, not obviously. So George Mason first in the A-10 at 21-5. They're actually probably looking at an at-large bid themselves, potentially, even if they don't win the conference tournament. They're projected for a 12 seed right now. They'll probably get right around there, even if they don't win the conference tournament because of their record. But this is a chance for VCU. If they can get a dub today at home against Mason, this will boost their at-large chances considerably because they have Richmond, who's at the bottom of the conference. They have Duquesne, who's at the bottom of the conference. They have Davidson, who's in the middle, and then they get Dayton at the end. If they can win these four, all they probably really need to do is be competitive against Dayton and then win one game in the A-10 tournament, and that will probably be enough to get them in. But if you lose today, and then you absolutely can't lose Richmond, Davidson, Duquesne. So then you probably have to beat Dayton at the end of the year. And they beat Dayton at Dayton the first time, so it's going to be a revenge spot for the Flyers. So their best chance right now, they have Mason at home. It's a team that they've actually played well over the last few years, and they are 10.5-point favorites. So if they can't get this one, then they might be on the outside looking in. And when it comes down to the final weekend for some of these non-power conference teams, that's what it can mean. I posted about it the other day about Cal Irvine. They have a fantastic season. They've only lost 5 games all year. They're not getting an at-large bid because
that is the I was talking about this with my friends over at Facts and Stats the other day, and that's what I was talking about. Like, you could have an amazing year in a mid-major conference and if you don't win your conference tournament, you're not getting in.
Nope.
You're not getting in, and you could be 29-4, and you could be, you could have beaten the shit out of a bunch of teams. They're just still not going to let you in, and you'll be playing on Tuesday in NIT right after Sunday. That's how it'll go. And that's something that people need to realize too, is that and these teams will hover near the top 25 all year. And you'll think, hey, they're in. They're going to get in. They were almost in the top 25. They were in the top 25, and then they lose one game in a conference tournament, and they don't get in. It's a cold game for small conference called small conference teams. It really is.
Yep.
I did want to ask, out of these four teams, TCU, West Virginia, Utah, Kansas State, are they all getting in, or which of those four do you think is the best of the four? Because right now you got Baylor, TCU at 8-7. West Virginia 7-8 in conference, all with 10-11 wins. It looks like Kansas State's going to be on the outside looking in, because they're at 500. They're 7-8 in the conference, but they're at 500 on the season. So between West Virginia, TCU, and Utah, are they all getting in? And then I think
West Virginia probably,
and also is Baylor in any fear of missing the tournament?
At the moment they aren't, but because they do have a good number of quad one wins. But if you look at their remaining schedule, Colorado, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, TCU, Houston,
pretty sweet.
They better win almost all of those except for, I mean, Houston's forgivable. But if you start losing in your next four games, which three of them are on the road, so it's not the easiest path. Colorado, Cincinnati, TCU are all on the road. Okie State at home. If you lose two of those, then they should be sweating unless they're going to run it in the Big 12 tournament. 10 losses might seem like a lot, but you also got to remember, in addition to playing in the Big 12, they also non-con. They played Tennessee, they played St. John's, they played Arkansas, they played UConn, they played Gonzaga. So they have had, and they also played Utah, and they beat them by almost 30. So they've played a very, very difficult schedule. So for the time being, I think they're in. For the West Virginia, I think is probably pretty safe for the time being. I agree with you on Kansas State being on the outside looking in. TCU's got some work to do. I haven't seen many brackets that have had them in right now. I do not either. I think that, and you look at the rest of their schedule, there's not a whole lot of chances to boost their resume. They got the one against Texas Tech. So they got Cincy, they got West Virginia. That's going to be a big one, and Baylor. So West Virginia and Baylor are there two, where if they can get both of those, I mean, if they win out the rest of the regular season and win one Big 12 game, that's plenty. That's enough to get in. I think that if you split between West Virginia and Baylor, beat the other three teams you should, and then get a Big 12 win, that's probably going to be enough. So it'll be interesting. I don't have them in right now either, but they have a number of paths to get there. All right. So with that in mind, we will move on to the games for the day. So 3 free plays from myself, 1 from Sosa. We'll get right into it. And 1 second here. And first game up is the Penn State Nittany Lions at the Minnesota Golden Gophers here, where in my home state, you got the Gophers laying 2.5 with a total of 142. And so for this game, I'm looking at the home team. I'm looking at Minnesota for this one. Penn State, other than the beatdown that they put on Nebraska at home, prior to that, they had lost. They were 12-3 back on January 5th. They were 12-2 back on January 5th. And since that point, they were 1-10. The only win was against Rutgers. So yeah, they got a nice one at Nebraska or against Nebraska, but they have not won a Big Ten conference game all season. In fact, the only game that they've won on the road this entire season in a true road game was at Drexel, who is part of the Coastal, so against a mid-major team. This is a team that just doesn't show well on the road. You can see over here that from an offensive perspective, they are just not a good shooting team at all. 51.2 effective field goal percentage, 32.3 from 3-point. Those numbers get exponentially worse when they're away from home. You have Penn State is shooting just barely 31% on the, is just barely work shooting 31% on the road from 3-point range, and they've had a number of games where they've been held under 65 points, a few games under 60. Now Minnesota is not obviously a tournament team, but they had a really nice West Coast road trip. They've actually won 3 road games in a row, including one at Penn State. So playing a lot better recently and playing much better defense recently. You can see that their conference numbers not the greatest, 17th in overall defensive efficiency. That has actually been significantly better over the last few weeks, and it's especially better at home. So at home, their floor percentage, which floor percentage is the percentage of an opponent's possessions that end in any kind of points, is 47.4%. You factor that, that's actually close to the top 100 in all of college basketball. You also look at their 3-point percentage that they've allowed, and over the last few games and at home, they only allow close to 31.2%. So Gophers are playing much, much better defense. Now, on the offensive side, which is another thing that Penn State struggled with, because during this road streak that they've given up, they've allowed 78 to UCLA, they allowed 92 to USC, they allowed Michigan and Iowa to both put up nearly 80 on them, and they've really just the games that they've been competitive in has just been to just try to outscore people. But with Minnesota, 52.2% effective field goal percentage at home, which is top 115 in the country. So I'm going to go with the team that's actually playing significantly better at the moment, and that would be the Gophers. The 2.5 within one possession is a good enough number for me. So the first official play will be the Minnesota Golden Gophers at -2.5. All right. Moving on to the next one. And for this one, we're going to, so I was one of these teams I was giving out live bets on the other night. It's a conference that I actually follow almost as closely as the conference that my team, Towson, is in. So we have Cal Northridge and UC Davis, 5 p.m. Eastern. Cal Northridge on the road, laying 4.5 and a total of 144.5. So this one, the Big West tournament has, though the Big West Conference has 11 teams. The Big West tournament, you get the top 8 make the conference tournament. Northridge right now is, they're for sure set to go into the tournament. They are in third right now. They're a half game ahead of Riverside in fourth. But what the Big West tournament has is it has the ladder style. So it does the same thing that the West Coast Conference does, where 5, 6, 7, and 8 play. The winners of those play 3 and 4. The winners of those play 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 are very, very important seeds. UC San Diego probably has the number 1 seed locked up at this point. And Irvine's schedule, despite the fact that they're going to be without their starting point guard and they're pretty much kind of Mr. Do Everything Miles Che for a while, is they have an easier schedule, so they're probably going to be locked into the 3. Now, Northridge can go anywhere from all the way up to 2 to all the way down to 5, and UC Davis needs at least a win to stay in contention for the tournament and can move all the way up into the top 4. So there's a lot to play for both these teams. Both these two teams did play on January 4th, and Northridge was at Northridge. Northridge won 73-61. But since that time, aside from and Northridge has also been on quite the roll here. They've won 6 in a row. They've including the win against Irvine. But I'm actually going with UC Davis here. UC Davis has played Cal Northridge tough at home pretty much for the last few years. And the other thing that UC Davis does is they rebound the ball exceptionally well. You can see here, number 1 in offensive rebound percentage in the conference. And Cal Northridge, especially on the road, can be prone to taking some interesting shots. They actually did that against Irvine and won the rebound battle. The other thing with Davis is that they are shooting the ball better. It's been one of their Achilles heels, but they have been over 50% effective field goal percentage last three. And Northridge on the road and over the last few games has been close to under 51% effective field goal percentage and has been shooting not as well from the 3-point line. But the big thing with Cal Northridge is they foul a lot. You can see that they're 10th in the conference. But that's not even indicative of how much they foul. They're 356 in average opponent free throws attempted per game, over 25. They allow over 26 free throws on on the road. And UC Davis does shoot 75% from the free throw line as a team. Their overall free throws attempted per game is in the top half of the conference, but at home, it's even better. So Davis attempts over 26 free throws per game at home. And Northridge plays this bruising, kind of up in your face, bodying defense. You can get them caught out of position in a number of situations. So when you give me a team that's shooting better at home, you also give me a team that's fouling a ton and is going to is going to be putting their opponent on the line who shoots a good percentage. And as it says right there, I agree with you 100%. I like Davis let down for CSUN after the big win last night. Yep. I don't necessarily know that Davis is going to win the game, but the 4.5 is just a little bit too much. So the second play will be UC Davis at plus 4.5. UC Davis plus 4.5. This is a back-to-back road game against an opponent that actually matches up reasonably well with them. And I go back to the fouling. To cover a 5+ point spread on the road, for me, you have to be either significantly better than your opponent the second time around, or you have to do some of the things that CSUN just doesn't do, which is foul a ton. So if you're going to give a team that shoots 75% from the free throw line 26 free throws, unless you're shooting damn near 60% effective field goal percentage, which CSUN normally doesn't do, and probably not in a back-to-back road game, it's going to be tough to cover a 5-point spread. So plus 4.5 UC Davis would be the second one. And I talked about them earlier. We will close the free plays with Boise State. I talked about how they need a win. They need a win so bad. And they are taking on Nevada today. So this game goes at 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's basically a pick 'em. You can get -1, plus 1.5, depending on where you look, with a low total of 136.5. And not only do I think that Boise absolutely needs a win, I think that they're actually going to get one. Boise has dominated this series in recent years, and they have several statistical advantages, which I'll go over here in a moment. But look, this Wolfpack team is not going to go to the NCAA tournament unless they win the Mountain West, which I'm sure they won't. This Nevada team, yes, they've won a number of games in a row here, but let's grade on a curve. Air Force and Fresno, who are by far the two worst teams in the Mountain West. San Jose State, who is right down there with them and is 12-16. So that's accounted for their win streak. They already lost at Boise by 10. The top half of the conference this year has just absolutely smacked them, including Utah State by almost 25 and San Diego State by almost 20. So their little win streak here is not exactly as impressive as it looks. Boise, on the other hand, in addition to Nevada, they had the big win against New Mexico, and they looked like a team. Just watching them, they looked like a team that knew that they had a mission. They had work to do. I talked about how Boise has dominated this series. Boise has won 4 of the last 6 outright. And Nevada got 1 win at home back in 2022. So it's been a Boise series. The other thing here is that Nevada fouls a lot too. You can see they're dead last in the Mountain West in both 3-point defense and in free throws attempted over field goals attempted. This Boise team shoots 76% from the free throw line. It's one of the things that killed Nevada last time. And on the road, Boise still attempts 23 free throws a game, which would be in the top 30 of college basketball. Nevada, whether they're home or away, allow close to 25. So you're going to put a team that shoots this well from the free throw line on the line in a low scoring game and with limited possessions. Nope. This to me is a Boise team that absolutely knows that they cannot lose. I was actually reading some of the comments after the game, and there was very little celebration about beating New Mexico. It was, hey, we're not in yet. We're not in yet. We got Nevada on Saturday. That's the next one. That's what we're on. I don't try to judge teams' motivations because I'm not in their locker room, but just reading and listening to post-game news conferences, their attitude seemed like the right one to have. They also have a Nevada team that I think that they match up very well with, especially scoring on the inside. Boise does a really, really nice job of getting their guards over the top on ball screens and getting them going downhill to the rim. And they especially get their wings going with Digenhart, 6'8", averaging 18.3 points per game. And Nevada doesn't really have a lot of guys that match up with him very well. So you give me all that. You give me a team that is going that fouls a lot and that doesn't defend the 3, with a Boise team that plays a nice inside-outside game. And we will go with the Boise State money line. The best I could find it right now is at -103. Boise -1, Boise money line, whatever you want to do, any combination of that will work just fine. Welcome back, Sosa.
What's the deal, man? Xfinity is fucking up, man.
You're good. I'm gonna I'll go back to your set it and forget it right now.
Did you already say it? Because like I said, I had to leave. I was they were doing some bullshit.
No, you're good. Let's do it.
Obviously, the set it and forget it of this week, moneyline parlay, all 3 teams, home teams favored. Basically, the exact same formula we've taken on the last 2, trying to go 3 straight, all plus money, obviously, because I never give you a parlay that was not plus money. But yeah, all 3 in extremely advantageous chalk spots. And Saturday is, if you scour the field well enough, it's easy to find some chalk that's going to be successful. It's Saturday. These guys are at home. They get the energy from the home crowd on a Saturday every single time. And then it's tough travel spots for kids. You know what I mean? They're going on the road to hostile environments, and they're not necessarily, they don't necessarily look great. So my picks are, again, University of Illinois, Chicago, Belmont, and Southern Illinois. Moneyline parlay of +160. And yeah, that should be easy cashing. Have you gotten what have you gotten through thus far?
I got all through my picks. We're going to go. So next, for those that are watching, we are going to go with one of the bigger games of the day with St. Mary's and the Zags, and just kind of do a general breakdown. And then we'll get to comments from the chat. Make sure to get your comments up there. Also, if you have any other games that you want us to talk about, any other leans, looks that you like, post them in the chat now, and we will make sure to get them up on the screen and talk about all of them. But before we do that, let's go out to Spokane. Let's go out to the Kennel, and we got the rematch. St. Mary's dominated this for the most part last time. You got St. Mary's at the Zags, which for basically the number 1 seed in the West Coast Conference. 8 p.m. Eastern. The Zags are laying 5.5 and have been playing quite well lately, with a total of 142.5. Sosa, is this the inverse of last time, you think?
It better be. It better be belt to ass. Gonzaga better win this game by 10 points. I swear to God. I promise you. Like I have no qualms about saying that. They better win this game. They better handle business. It's at the crib. You know what it is with them. You know what it is.
Well, since losing to St. Mary's back on February 1st, nobody nobody has come within 17 points of the Zags. Loyola Marymount, Pacific, San Francisco, Pepperdine, Washington State. They are beating the living shit out of teams. So whatever happened during that game, I mean, I watched the game, but whatever happened sparked something in the Zags or in Mark Few, and they have been absolutely, they're not just beating teams, they're just absolutely destroying teams. Now, not that St. Mary's is slacking off either. They've won 4 in a row. They beat teams by close to the same margin after losing that game at San Francisco, where honestly, that was a letdown spot right after the Zags. It was right after the Zags, and they made several just unbelievably stupid plays at the end that cost them the game. Missed some free throws too late. But this is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a really, really, really fun game. Out in Spokane, overall, it has so despite the fact that St. Mary's has actually won 3 of the last 4 against Gonzaga, in Spokane, they've only won 1 game since 2018. So this has been a Gonzaga home spot. And I think that the line is probably set where it should be. If you gave me a free pick on this game, I would probably take the over. 142.5. The Zags offense has just been absolutely lights out efficient. And St. Mary's defense is still what it is. But on the road at Spokane, in that atmosphere with how the Zags are playing right now, I would probably lean on the over because if you think that the Zags are going to win, I don't think that the Zags can win playing a 61-59 game or whatever it is, playing St. Mary's game. They're going to have to get up the floor. They're going to have to look to get quick, easy buckets because in the half court, St. Mary's does have the elixir for Mark Few's motion high offense. So I don't have any looks pregame on the spread. I think it's probably the right number. I think if I could get the Zags within a possession, I would be very interested. But a very, very, very slight lean on the over. I'm actually going to watch this one throughout the day and see if I can get some value based on line movement. But if you just gave me a straight up even money line play on this game, yeah, I would take the Zags. They are just absolutely steamrolling people right now. So,
but it's kind of what we expected, right? It's definitely what we expected with losing to St. Mary's. We've talked about the Zags. They're always the most talented team in the conference.
Yep.
That's never a situation of or a question or comes into question. It's just a matter of, are they going to bring it every night? Because it's not really a conversation at the most talented team. It's not. It never is.
No.
They get beat on some bullshit. And whenever they lose in this conference. And that's why it's alarming when they do lose more than 1 game in conference.
Yep.
So yep. I think they give us the revenge that we want from last time. Remember, I was very heavy on Gonzaga going to St. Mary's and handling business. They did not do that whatsoever, and it was relatively easy, like you stated, for St. Mary's to just kind of walk through them. I think you get the energy from the home crowd, the usual stuff. You know what I mean? I think the line is set at 5.5 to kind of scare you off because obviously that's a dog line. You take the 5.5 points, the purgatory number in basketball. But I think it's a Gonzaga spot. I'm not mad at Gonzaga's team total either. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts in regards to this one.
All right. Other games, comments, questions. Let's go to the chat. Chi-Town Kicks, thank you for joining. Appreciate you, my guy. Wavy Visions, first time visitor here. Welcome, my guy. Welcome. Keep it up, fellas. I really like Oregon, Wisconsin over 153. Yeah, I'm never going to argue with you on an over spot for the Ducks. It's up to 154 right now, so I think that the line movement would indicate that you have the right look there. It looks like it's going to go up some more too, but both two fast-paced teams can make shots. I know you said too, Iowa State missing 2 key pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. So, 2 starters down. Yeah.
2 starters down. Yeah. The one thing I'll warn and caution with that line is that line is priced like they're out. So if both of them were in, I think you'd be getting like a 4 to 5 point line. Not that I don't think Houston can cover it, but in those spots, I kind of like looking and seeing how the team that's missing guys adjusts and what they do in response to that, and then maybe look to bet it in game. And Io says, "Yep, I like Davis." We had talked about that one, big letdown spot. Davis versus Bakerfield, so they let you back down the well. Yep, agreed completely on that one. Moneybag, good morning. Good morning, my guy.
Doing great, brother. Doing great.
Live in Illinois, can't bet either. Damn it. That sucks, Green Beam. RJ3, Mississippi State and Wake Forest today. Wake Forest needs a win too. They're probably in a little bit of a better spot because they have NC State, who's just in free fall. So
any team that North Carolina covers a double-digit spread against, you can beat.
Yep. This line is actually rocketed up. It opened at 2.5. It's up to 4.5 now. If you're talking about doing a money line parlay with the two of them, I don't hate that one either. Prop says Bucks in 6 and Padres World Series. I know Sosa's got something to say about that one.
I'm not acknowledging that. Listen, I'm not mad at the Padres being a good baseball team. I actually have Tatis as my MVP. If it ain't Shohei, I think it'll be him. I think he's bound to, I think he's going to have an electric year. I think you're going to see him return back to where we had thoughts of him being like that generational superstar when he popped up on the scene. Obviously, it's a college basketball show, but I think people have this conversation about people have this conversation.
I'm just giving Sosa shit.
They try to write people off so fast. You know what I mean? Like they were talking about Tatis like he's the generational superstar. You get in trouble one time and they forget how fucking good you are. And this is coming from a Dodger fan. So I have nothing bad to say about the Padres. And I can be like that forever because I have nothing bad to say about any team that's in Major League Baseball because they're only chasing one team. Everybody's only chasing one team. It's going to be like that for the next 5 years. So I bring on all challengers and I respect all my opponents. You know?
I like it.
That's all I got.
Supreme Vintage, good morning to you as well, my guy. I think I think we got through most of the comments today. So, all right, Sosa, anything else from you?
Tom Izzo is top 5 dead or alive. Don't really give a fuck where you put him, but he better be on that list. He better be on that list. You feel me? I swear to God, if Tom Izzo's not in your top 5 all-time of head coaches, I need you to rethink what you've watched your whole lifetime. I swear to you. It's so easy how he's able to manipulate basketball games and just do whatever the fuck he wants, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, I've never seen a coach. I mean, no. He's the only one, bro. I've seen like that can really like can control a game. He has like universal mind control over referees, bro.
Mm-hmm. He knows, man.
I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
Oh yeah. RJ3 says I like Kennesaw State as well. Yeah, they're definitely playing an inferior opponent. One thing I'm interested in is they shot the living shit out of the ball against UTEP the other night. They were just absolutely throwing flames, making tough fadeaway threes. Now, New Mexico State is not as good of an opponent as UTEP is. Be interested to see if they can repeat that because they're normally not that great of a shooting team, but the 4.5 is more than enough so I don't hate the look at all. Thoughts on an under in Texas Tech and West Virginia? Low number. Texas Tech at home scares me a little bit just because of a few of the guys that they have that can get hot shooting the ball. So I don't dislike the look, but the one thing that I've seen a number of times is watching Chance McMillan just throw flames on his home floor. I think he's shooting something like close to 50% from deep at home for the year. I know he made like 5 or 6 threes against Baylor. He made 3 or 4 threes against Oklahoma State and TCU. So, it's certainly, if you're going to play a total for that, under is probably the way to look. It's just kind of like it's close. It's close for me. JR, spin, what are your picks? My picks are Minnesota Gophers -2.5, UC Davis +4.5, and the Boise State money line. Those are my three.
Okay. Also, the clip of Rick Pitino saying if he had if he could pick any coach to coach a team in college basketball, he'd pick Chris Beard.
Chris Beard,
It's
yes.
the greatest clip ever because I've been trying to tell people for years how good he is.
Oh yeah,
as a coach. And when Pitino said they just need to give Chris Beard the job at Indiana and get the fuck out of his way, pretty much what he said. Like it's like he's the guy I would choose to give the job immediately.
Yep.
When I saw that, I was like, damn, like that lets you know like how great he's considered amongst his peers. You know what I mean? Like they understand like what he did at Texas Tech was monumental, bro. To take them to back-to-back Final Fours with a guy that he developed into a lottery pick. That's a final thought I want to throw out there. If you're not aware of how great of a basketball coach of Chris Beard truly is, go watch what Rick Pitino has to say about him. It's phenomenal stuff.
Agreed.
So,
all right.
Towson play today? No Towson game today? Huh?
I said I think that'll do it. Right?
No Towson game today, right?
Oh no, Towson plays today. We do.
Okay. I'm surprised we didn't get into Towson.
No. So, well, we had a letdown. So our win streak Towson's win streak got broken the other night at Elon. Honestly, I kind of saw it coming. It's been a tough place for us to play for the last few years. We had won 11 in a row. So, it was one of those games that I kind of saw coming. We have today we play Campbell. It should be a win. But they're a very slow it down rock fight kind of team. So we'll see what happens. I just want us to be playing well going into the conference tournament. That's what I want at the moment, because obviously winning the Coastal is the only way in for any team in that conference. So I just want us to lock up the 1 seed and handle business. So we'll see what happens today. I don't think I'm going to be putting $1 on Towson today. I think I'm just going to watch as a fan.
Better not lose to the Camels.
I hope to God we don't lose to the Camels. That would be a bad loss.
We're out. All right.
We're out of here. Best of luck. Best of luck if tailing. Thank you all. Make sure to like, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. We will see you next time.